if your body is put on the line and the thing on the other side of the scale is a half-eaten meat bun, like
here's the thing. So the people in Xie Lian's market really like and respect him, and he keeps calling Xie Lian Gege, and I know Gege is supposed to be a term of respect, but for the life of me, between the book and the BLHQ podcast, which did a Heaven Official's Blessing one, I can't help but read it in a sexy little voice in my head that's like, Gege, Gege. Like, I read it and that's what I hear. I don't hear a term of respect.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Comic Dissection, the comic book club podcast where we look at comics through an intersectional leftist lens. I am Cecilia Rose, and with me is Reno Valentino.
Woo!
And today we are doing chapters 63 through 85 of Heaven Official's Blessing.
Yeah, we gotta jump on it because they're taking it away from us.
Billy Billy's didn't make enough money, and capitalism ruins everything. So
they really do. I was editing Justice 1 through 6, and we were talking about, as we always do when we're actually reading paper comics of the olden age, about how the advertisements just come in the middle of the comic and break up, a story, and how Cecilia notices it more than me. But man, it did make me think. It would be better if those just weren't in there. If it was just the comic. It was just the art.
Yeah.
And you could just tell a story that was the length you wanted it to be. And you didn't have to worry about, the network wants it to be 5 seasons. So you really got to take this story that you could tell in 3 episodes and stretch it in ways that are painful.
Yeah, this is why you get those will they, won't theys that last 20 years for no reason.
Yeah.
But just because...
Like, you know what, at this point, I hope they don't.
The spite in me...
I'm bitter about it.
The spite in me says, fuck them, I don't care if they do now. Like, it's one of those things my grandparents, when I was little, used to always be like, well, we were going to take y'all to do X, Y, or Z. Well, it's so good to tell me after. Like, it's done now. I don't care anymore.
They want, like, half credit for going to.
Well,
it'd be like if you go into school and you're like, I was going to turn my homework in on time. Like, don't I also, can you give me some credit for that? I was seriously thinking about it. Well, and if you want
someone to be like, I want the good thing, so I'll behave, it does a better job to tell them about the good thing before you take it away.
Well,
because I didn't know there was anything on the line.
I was going to say, you could also read it as, I just did this thing and then later remembered that this thing was happening and I can hold it over your head because
yeah. It's
like, I was going to do that thing you really wanted. I didn't forget about it. I just didn't because you've been bad. So that's on you, really.
Yeah.
So Heaven's Official Blessing. Man, back in this pretty world.
It's so pretty.
About to like a god and a ghost demon. I really have trouble, categorizing these people. And I don't mean that in, a conservative Republican, what are they, guys or girls? I don't mean like that. I mean, this dude was a god, but then he got kicked down to earth, but then he worked a whole bunch, and then got to be a god again. And the dude he seems to have feelings for, it's sort of ghost, also kind of a demon, and strong enough to be gods, but not officially a god, but on paper, maybe a god,
So I think a lot of it has to come in with the fact that these are the Eastern categorizations of things. Mm-hmm. And ghosts and demons are not dissimilar.
Oh, well, yeah. In Japan you have Onis and ogres and magis and giants and wizards and cardinal directions. And something can be all of those things, or none of them, or any random combination, whatever helps the story move along.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's one of, because there are ghosts, obviously. Mm-hmm. There are souls.
We're gonna be a lot of ghosts in this section.
There are souls that haven't passed on, but those can turn into devastations and demons and stuff, or they can just be ghosts.
As an old player of Dungeons and Dragons, I just need to know how many hit dice they have and what plus
Dice do also come into
what
play
plus
here.
that's very much so, yeah. And what magical sword I need to defeat them. Like, is it +3? Can I hit them with a +5 bastard sword? I need to know. And I need to know how much experience they give when I kill them. Because I want to level up soon.
But yeah, the definitions are a little bit more loose than they are in like American ghost lore.
Yes.
Like,
To further enjoy Heaven Official's blessing, just go with it. Don't try and map the hierarchy. You can drive yourself crazy.
now I
doing
do
that.
have to admit that the difference between gods and like the supreme ghosts
Yeah.
seem almost just discriminatory in the way that like because there doesn't seem to be because people in the text it even says people pray to Hasheng. Like he has worshippers and followers but it doesn't say how that affects his power because like does he have karma or something from all the wishes he grants?
Yeah.
And how does that it doesn't expressly
And can you get power off like ghost worshipping you? Because man, he's big in the ghost world. They love him down there. And like, can he get power from that? Because honestly, if that was a route to power, you'd be much smarter catering to the dead than the living, because there's a lot more of them. So,
well, not everyone who dies becomes a ghost, though. Some people just pass on.
That's also true.
It depends, sort of, on like.
Yeah, I didn't consider that. I guess there aren't as many ghosts as there are living people, since not everyone who dies, not all who travel are lost. Not everyone who dies becomes a ghost.
Yeah. So, anyways, to actually get into the text.
Wait, we're gonna read the text?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna scroll through some pretty comic worlds.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Xie Lian wakes up and finds that Hao Chang has left him with a present.
The old dining ditch. Breaks your heart.
He seems so surprised and sad that he's gone.
Well, I mean,
but he
when
did
you
leave
share
him.
an evening with someone, even if it's just a weird platonic sleeping evening, and you wake up and they're gone without so much as a goodbye.
Well, he left him a nice ring, though. A very shiny little ring.
It's true. He did give him a ring.
And he says, even in Shan Li's palace, I've never seen a diamond more brilliant and glittering than this one. And it looks like the whole ring is a diamond. And then
There's
it's
like
got a ruby in the middle.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
It's very pretty. But I feel like, and maybe less so in this culture than ours, but man, sleeping with someone and leaving a ring the next morning, but not saying goodbye is like the granddaddy of mixed signals. It's like a proposal combined with a ditch, and I don't know what to make of it if I'm the other person in this equation.
You know, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
It's like, will you marry me? I'm not going to wait around for the answer, but here's a hoping. I'm out.
Well, he also doesn't explain it, and in the book, Xie Lian spends an inordinate amount of time being like, what is this, and why did he leave it here? Like,
Yeah.
It takes...
Him and me, we have that in common. Him and me both.
It takes Xie Lian an inordinate amount of time to figure out what that is. But, so...
He's like, next time I meet him, I'll ask him why he gave this to me.
Yep. But he doesn't.
Well, let's be fair. The circumstances under which he meets him are a little high stakes, and so maybe that did not pop into his head at the time. I'm sure he'll get there eventually.
I honestly kind of think he forgot he was wearing it.
Also possible.
It's not like Xie Lian has a lot of pretty things these days.
He's got a nice hat, though.
He does have a nice hat. Yeah. Song Long fixed it before he left.
The man fixed his hat. It's
So
good. It's a great hat. Let's call it
Song
a spade
Long
a
wants
spade.
his Xie Lian to be happy.
Yeah.
And then he gets called to the heavenly capital.
Yeah. And we get a nice shot of said heavenly capital. And it is heavenly.
It's very
lovely
fancy.
place. It's interesting, too, because later on we'll visit... what's it called? The Ghost Gate?
Ghost City?
Ghost City. And it really is a mirror image of this place. Like, you could take that place and change the colors to this light purple and pastel and bright light, and it would look just like this place. You take this place and turn the red light district on, and you know, black and red being the primary colors, and it would look just like that place.
Yeah.
They are really similar in appearance.
There is an interesting duality too, because
so
because
above,
the heavenly,
so below, kind of.
Well, and also just the people too. The heavenly capital, the gods are thought of as like being the paragons of people, when really, like Pei Ming's Jr., like Pei Jr. and stuff, they're kind of garbage. And the ghosts are thought of as garbage by the majority of society.
To be fair, some of them are also kind of garbage.
They are, but they're also not all bad.
No.
And it's
the gods aren't all good, and the ghosts aren't all
like,
bad.
I do think, like, the Lord Windmaster, I would say, is a good person.
Yeah.
And so some of the gods, I imagine, are good.
Yeah, of course.
But, and likewise for the ghosts, some of them are trash.
I'll also say traveling through heaven is a lot more boring, because everyone there looks almost exactly the same. Which, first of all, not something I needed. I have enough trouble telling people apart in this.
Well, most of them are just background characters, so they're not really supposed to be super worried about how they look.
But they all have very similar, both hair and facial, you know, perfect bone structure, beautiful faces, long hair. They all look very similar. Whereas when you get down to Ghostland, man, Ghost City, everybody looks different, and much, America's that melting pot, and like you get a lot more of that. Even with our draconian like way of handling people on the border, like I will say, out of all the countries and all the places I've been, America does have that melting pot aesthetic where all different cultures, all different people.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, I was in New York not too long ago, and that was just one of the things I realized. Like, you walk 3 blocks and you hear 12 different languages. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's super weird to imagine there's an entire, like, half this country, or at least half the voting part of this country, finds that terrifying and scary.
Well, it's like they say on Knowledge Fight when they're talking about, like, Alex Jones talking about, like, those Muslim women in the pool shop or whatever. It's
one of his most weird, famous stories.
Yeah, it's almost worse when they seem to, like, assimilate or fit in or whatever, because then the thing you think makes you special is something that someone else can learn. Yeah. And that's terrifying too. Whereas even when they're different, I'm doing so many square quotes, y'all can't see anything. But even when they're different than you.
You know what, we can hear it in your voice. The way you said different. It's in quotes.
Yeah. Well, but it's terrifying either way. If you can hear someone speaking a different language, I never understood why people care. But I imagine that if you can hear someone speaking a different language, you do become, I don't know.
It forces you.
It's one of those things.
It forces you into the minority. And Alex Jones is a rich white dude.
Used to be.
Has never been. Yay.
Look, I take my shots where I can get
Has never been in the minority, and he doesn't like it, and he hates the way it makes him feel.
Why are minorities treated bad or something?
Not according to him.
I mean,
he wants just enough to minorities that he can get a really good burrito at a food truck, and not 1 inch more. Like, that's the extent of how much, like, how much he wants to ruin the beautiful white country he's built in his mind.
That is the American condition.
Yeah, like, I want to be able to go to a nice Indian restaurant, but I really don't want to have Indian neighbors. Oh my God, especially now that their religion's different from mine, and they practice it? Oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
that sounds terrible.
My God is not pleased with that. And
my God says I want taquitos, but not the Mexican.
My God says I want taquitos.
But not
I want a bumper sticker that says my God says I want taquitos.
New merch.
Yeah. Not that second part, because, man, that you can't really do irony on a bumper sticker, and I'm not sure people would get that I was being sarcastic. So, yeah, just that first part. Because if I had the whole sentence, I feel like, and rightfully so, my back windshield will get busted in. And deservedly so.
I was gonna say, yeah, no. If you wrote,
I want
if you had a
taquitos,
bumper,
but I don't want Mexicans. Like, Jesus Christ, you're just.
it would deserve the breaking.
You would
of the
deserve
window,
the
yeah?
breaking of the window. Yeah. But I do like the sentence. My God says, "I want taquitos."
You're welcome. But speaking of things gods say,
Yeah, let's talk to some gods.
Xie Lian is trying to walk through through the heavenly capital, and people are talking about him and whispering about him.
There's a lot of whispering going on around him, and he's like, "Words travels fast about my exploits."
So the part, so I've been watching the anime, and this part happens in the anime, and it is the funniest shit because everyone's like following behind him and, you know, whispering and talking to him. So he stops walking, takes a couple of steps back, and the group behind him takes a couple of steps back. It is so fucking funny.
That's very cute.
But yeah, there are a lot of crown princes in heaven, and someone calls out for Your Highness, and Xie Lian turns around thinking they're talking to him, but
It's really, of course they aren't. You were like the least highness around.
something systemic power, something.
You were the lowest person that could even still be called a Your Highness.
So we meet Crown Prince Ling Quanshu.
Yes.
Ling Quanshu.
Who makes a hell of an entrance riding a tiger with a nice hat. He's got like a fez on. I hear fezzes are cool. I think that tiger's wearing a fez. And a carafe, cool. Like Fred from Scooby-Doo. Like, this tiger's really... I think Tiger has a date later. He's really dressed up.
He does look very fancy. He's a fancy kitty.
He's got him another kitty date later on.
But he is the Prince of the East, or the Prince of the East, also known as Taihua. Taihua, yeah.
Yes.
Taihu.
He needs more names. Everyone needs more names.
I told you before that was the hardest part of reading this, is trying to keep straight, one, like, the territories, which is also, like, kind of distracting.
Yeah.
And then everyone has a name, and then everyone has another name for, like, their godhood or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just gets...
And then the name of they have, like, a title, a name, and then another name.
It's a lot. It is a lot. You don't need that many aliases for one person.
No, but I mean, you know, Christians, who are they? You know, who are they to talk? Jesus, Jehovah, Christ, the Holy Spirit.
As someone who is not Christian,
the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I'm trying to think of others. Anyway, the guy's got a lot of names. My point is, once you point someone to godhood, you just start throwing names at them. I don't know why. In fact, even if you're the bad guy, Lucifer, the morning star, Satan, the devil.
As a pagan, you just call it the goddess and you go on about your day.
She needs a name. Like Gaia.
That is a goddess. But you can just say the goddess and go on about your life.
But which goddess are you talking about?
Who knows and who cares, and why is it any of your business?
Well, because you literally just brought it up with me just now.
But I'm just saying, as far as all the names
I thought we were talking about it.
As far as all the names go,
yeah,
you can just the goddess.
Yeah.
Like, I
mean, Susan. Just tell me it's Susan, and I'll know. Like, oh, that one. Okay. I don't know. I feel like if there's a lot of goddesses, and you're like, oh, I worship the god. I played Dungeons and Dragons last night, and it's still in my head. Like, if you're like, oh, I worship the goddess, I'm like, well, there's a goddess of pain and torment, and there's a goddess of nature, and it's pretty important which one you're talking about, because one of them wants to hurt me, and no, not if you want to hurt and kill me. If you want to give me a flower,
don't tell the people before you kill them. That's you know what?
Again, that might be the Riddler in me talking. Like, oh, you got to warn them in the form of some clue.
No! You blindside them, that way no one knows.
To see if they're smart enough to escape, yes. Are they a worthy opponent or not?
I don't need worthy opponents. I need my kill list to be shorter.
Fair enough. Getting things done over here. So,
Xie Lian waves, and then we go on to him, like... Isn't that nice? It is a very pretty tiger. I just got to the panel where he's sitting atop it, and it's very nice. And I love this because the prince waves back.
Yeah.
He's like, cool, nice hi. Enough. Yeah, he's cool. And then his little assistant's like, don't talk to him. No. Poor Xie Lian. This man cannot catch a break.
He does seem to take it in stride, though. Like, it doesn't seem like it bothered him particularly.
And this is also where we learn that Xie Lian was the prince of Shanli, and his kingdom was destroyed by an ancestor of Lang Xuanshu, who is the prince of Yong'an, which is the kingdom that destroyed Xianli. So there was a lot of people who were of the opinion that, like, it was an awkward interaction, which it kind of was, but Xie Lian is awkward, so I don't really know that you can hold that against him.
Yeah, they're all going to be awkward.
They're all awkward
because one of the parties involved.
Because Xie Lian... Well, Xie Lian has this way of interacting that's like, he knows how people talk, but he's not going to let that affect what he does. And in all honesty, I respect that. Like, that is a way of being that I have a lot of, like...
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's the way you'd expect a god to behave. These other gods who are worried what people will say and think, like, that's not very godlike behavior. Like, you're God, dude. Like, not to get mad at the Christian God again, but, like, you shouldn't care whether I believe in you or not. Like, that should not affect your self-esteem one iota. Like,
you should not need my petty thing.
You should not need my constant adoration to feel better about yourself, man. Like, you created the heavens and the earth, dude. That should be enough for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing.
That tree over there should be enough. Like,
that tree by itself. Yeah.
That should be enough. Why are you bothering me?
Like, on Arbor Day, you literally planted all the trees. Like, you should feel great.
Now, Xie Lian mostly gets ignored, but Ling Wen does say hello.
Yeah, she's always nice.
She is, and then...
Talking about some exiles getting ready to happen.
Yeah, because Pei Su is getting ready to be sentenced. And poor Ling Wen, they run this woman ragged. She never gets
She's
her
busy,
stuff.
busy. It's the real oil in the gears that keeps this whole operation running.
Yeah, she really is, and no one is appreciative. And that never gets better.
No one appreciates oil. It just makes gears less squeaky.
I feel it's one of those comments of, like, how much a woman's work is never appreciated, because she's the main civil god.
What's the rule? If you want someone to appreciate your job, stop doing it. Then suddenly everyone notices.
Yeah.
Hey, look at all the stuff I did. Imagine this life when it's not getting done.
Don't you miss someone who could do all this stuff?
Yeah, maybe if that person got a little more appreciation.
So we go into the heavenly capital and we meet Jinwu, who is the heavenly emperor.
Yeah.
Who has called this meeting today.
Now, see the creme de la creme, the top of the...
He's the top of the top.
Okay. You know, the throne gave it away.
I'm surprised that the heavy gold, like, ribbon that defies the laws of gravity and physics...
Yeah, that is
wasn't the thing that gave it away.
Hey, that's a lot. But when they do a shot before he's revealed, where you see this huge hallway and the throne, like, way off in the distance, I'm like, this whole place is just your ego room for your big ass throne.
And it's a big fucking ego, ain't it?
Yeah. So that was the reveal, even before I saw that he also was dressed the part, which he absolutely is.
Yes, he is. He's got a nice little gold headpiece. He's got, like I said, the ribbon that defies physics. Yeah. He looks very emperorish.
I will tell you this. If you like these outfits, and you ever find a chance to play the Dynasty Warrior games, like, every person in Dynasty Warriors is dressed like this.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's also a real good... thing to relieve stress, because you're basically just taking control of one of these generals, a dude that looks awesome like this, and just wading through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of troops working for the other guy. Feels good. Makes you feel good.
Hey. Like I was just saying. About the murder.
That's right.
So anyways, Xie Lian is saying, you know, he thought that the matter had already been settled as far as Pei Su, so he was kind of...
Pei Su Jr.?
Pei Jr.
Pei Jr.
is Pei Ming's grandson or some shit.
Yeah.
Pei Su is his name.
Yeah.
He is Pei Su. And Pei Ming is the god that just came in, who was saying, hey, it's kind of hard to determine whether or not this is settled, because I've got some questions. Pei Ming is the
martial god of the north.
Martial god of the north and the hoe of the heavenly court. On the other hand, he is pretty, though.
I was going to say, I knew I liked him as soon as I met him. Yeah. And now I know why. Snazzy dresser.
He is pretty, though. Like, I do see why he can manage to talk quite a few women into sleeping with him. He's pretty, though.
Yeah.
He makes a comment to Xie Lian about our family's little Pei has been in your care, kind of making a dig at, like, how Pei Su ended up in this situation.
Mm-hmm. He's basically saying that there's a lot of strange things that happened around this
whole case.
This whole case that leads him to believe that maybe we shouldn't shut the door on this one so quick.
And so he points out that Pei Su was pretty strong with his clone, and even with his strength as a god with his clone, there was a person at the scene who was able to cover him in bruises and gave him no chance to fight back. And he was wearing red, and it was just.
He also slaughtered a bunch of well, in this world, what the equivalent is of like level 9 poltergeist. Like he beat up a bunch of high level ghosts as well.
The moon soldiers.
Yeah. And this is all very suspicious because we know a dude in red who's really powerful, and no one here at the court likes that dude.
No, that he's beaten up and killed quite a few of the people.
Yeah, he's not making friends out here.
Yeah. So Pei Ming gets to the point, which is, who is the god in the red cloth? Like, that's basically the point of this whole interrogation. Instead of Pei Su being held responsible for his actions, the whole point of this interrogation was to...
Hey, that red dude might have framed him. We don't know. We need more info. Mm-hmm. And it would be easy to believe he framed him because, again, if he's who I think he is, none of us like that dude.
We are going to pin all of this.
He is the El Nino.
On Crimson Rain Salt Flower.
Yes.
And I get to keep my Pei Su. That's Pei Ming's plan, is,
Yeah.
Pin this on Hao Shang and keep his little friend.
Gotta help your friends.
So, it does annoy me a little bit how the start of the next chapter has, like, the last few panels of the last chapter. Yeah. I don't need that.
Well, it's a problem when you're reading, like, 100 of them at once. I'm sure if, like... And you can speak to this more than I can. If you haven't read one in a while, it's nice to have a little, like... Last episode, our heroes were blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's
before
true.
You jump into the next thing. Also makes our poor writer and artist, who has a lot of work to do.
This is fair.
Gives her like 10% less to draw.
This is fair.
She appreciates that.
So, Xie Lian is like, I don't know who you're talking about. Can't remember.
Can't remember clearly.
Mm-hmm. At the time, I came across the caravan, so maybe he was someone from the... And Pei Ming's like, no, that caravan didn't have this dude. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, but you guys started together, so he was already there when you got there.
He's wasting no time in lying for this guy.
Xie Lian was ready to go down for Ha Shang. He was...
No problem. Like, he gave me a pretty ring.
Yeah. He stayed with me at the shrine, and he was very nice, and he listened when I talked, and God, Xie Lian's, like, bar is so far. Like, he's...
It's sad how low that bar is.
So,
Windmaster
Xie Lian's bad lying gets interrupted by the Windmaster.
Thank God the Windmaster shows up, because this was going to be a rout. Like, this was not looking good for our hero.
What is this? So, yeah, Shuang Xuan, is like, hey, this will depend on whether or not General Nan Yang and Xuan Shen are willing to help out. Oh, so Pei Ming, like, the Lord Windmaster was like, hey, this is all just hearsay from Pei Su.
Your Honor. And he's like, well, here's his clone body, and I got a couple people who can identify the wounds on these very specifically, if they're willing to help out. And of course they are, God.
Hao Chang's reputation precedes him. So Mu Xing and Feng Shen have fought with Hua Shang, and I wish that we could actually have seen that, because I'm pretty sure that would have been very fun. You like
Yeah.
your fight scenes.
Yeah, good fight scene. Never hurt nobody.
And so they look at the body and they're like, yep, that's definitely Yiming. Those are definitely the marks that makes. So,
Ugh.
Xie Lian, I love him because he's just like, it's not awkward if I don't acknowledge how awkward it is.
I'm just looking at my feet.
Yep, that's his approach to everything.
Everything's groovy.
And here comes Shi Shuang to poke holes in the idea that Pei Jr. was framed. And to make friends with Xie Lian forever.
Yeah. What a niceness.
Yep. So basically, Lord Windmaster's like, look, he admitted what he did. He did it. You're not going to prove that this was a collusion or like that he isn't responsible for his actions.
Yeah. And it's like, look, now, even if you don't believe me, the Windmaster is backing my story here, so...
Well, and he's not going to let everything get blamed on Hao Shang. Hao Shang didn't do it. Of the things that...
I mean, some of it he did.
Well, he killed the moon guards, but like...
With good reason.
Yes, with good reason, and kind of needed to be done.
Yeah.
And Heaven had been overlooking this for like 200 years, so if y'all wanted to deal with it, y'all had a chance.
Well, I think a lot of this is that they've got egg on their face because, like, they haven't solved this problem. They send their lowest ranked dude in there, and a mystery red dude shows up. Problem gets solved like that. That makes them kind of look like a bunch of rubes. Like,
that's also true.
Not a good look for the Heavenly Court to have this solved by their worst enemy and their lowest ranked member.
The god that somehow is like a cancerous growth and just keeps coming back.
He pops up for 2 minutes and then they cast him back to Earth because they remember how annoying he is.
But Xie Lian says that although Ghost Kings are notorious, it doesn't mean that you can pin every crime on him. So basically, yeah, you're not going to blame Hao Shang for any of this. I won't let you.
And the Emperor's like, I don't care. We got a culprit. This trial's closed. Like, none of this is interesting to me.
Yeah, the Emperor is basically like, yeah, he's getting exiled.
It's like, yeah, like this case was wrapped up with a nice little bow, and you're trying to unwrap it before Christmas. No, exile. We're done here. Done. Which I like the Emperor at this point. He's not doing the right thing for the right reason, but he's doing the right thing.
Mu Xing and Feng Shen are bitches, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Damn. And you get the polite, because I'm talking to the Emperor, this isn't over, bow of oh yes, of course, your decision is final. I'm going to keep investigating, and I don't care what you say. Said in a very polite, courtly manner.
Yeah. Yeah, Pei Ming is not ready to let this rest.
It's so much that he walks by and gives him the grumpy nod on the way out.
Well, that's is that Feng Shen or is that Pei Ming or?
Well, everyone walks by him and gives him a look. Yeah, actually,
the emperor asks Xian, or he calls him Shan Li, but he asks Xie Lian to stay, and Mu Qing walks by with his grumpy face and his head held high, and Feng Shen stops and looks like he's gonna talk.
His like shoulder pad of the first guy that goes by almost like cuts our dude's nose off.
Feng Shen stops, but he won't talk, and then he stomps away too. But Xishuan does stop and say hi, and Pei Ming's like, "Why you causing problems, man?"
For the sake of your older brother, can you stop making a fuss?
I do like that Xishuan is like, don't try to scare me. I ain't scared of him. I ain't scared of you.
I'm not scared of my brother.
And little Pei did that on his own. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
Not wrong. Again.
He's not.
Yeah.
So, Zhenwu talks to Xie Lian, and he basically... Oh, before that, Xie Lian tries to apologize, although I'm never clear on why. Maybe just for causing problems.
When you're around an emperor, always apologize. That's the rule.
Well, I love the notion, because Xie Lian is very much like, let the past be the past, but he's forgiving of everyone besides himself. Yeah. And he didn't do anything wrong. But,
which is what the Emperor basically tells them while they go on their little walk.
And so the Emperor explains that that one of the reasons why he called this meeting was that there was
got a job for you.
An instance that happened recently where...
Are we in episode 67 now?
Yeah.
Okay. I called this a dragon solar flare because he mentions that there's a huge dragon busted out of the ground and like spitting flames everywhere, but it was all for show. Like the flames didn't hurt anybody, and the dragon like disappeared right afterwards. And it was basically the Emperor's like, I think that was a god sending up a cry for help kind of thing. And I'm like, that's a hell of a cry for help.
Yeah, I wrote down here, there's a fiery dragon spell, and I want to learn it. I wish magic were real. I really hate being a muggle.
Yeah. And also says, it burned for an entire 2 incense sticks. And I'm like, is that a time? Is that how we measure time in this world?
It really fucking is.
This is not the first time they've mentioned, like, oh, it was about an incense stick worth. And
when I read Mount Alzushi, they talk about time in incenses, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, the only incense that I have ever had and that I have burned, I didn't sit down and watch how long it took to burn.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that is. It's just...
It's a stick worth. Yeah.
It's just an amount of time.
I kind of feel like, would they all burn at the exact same time? Because that feels like a very inaccurate measurement of time. It'd be like measuring how long it takes a log to burn. I'm like, well, different logs are going to burn at different types and the type of log. And
is it wet?
Yeah, is it wet?
Like
it's 2 wet incense sticks worth of burning, so it actually took many hours.
I get the time's imaginary, but you could also just not mention it if you're just going to give me something that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, 2 incense sticks. Like, now I feel like we need to, for the podcast, like, slide a thing in sticks, incense, start a timer, measure it, and be like, okay,
our very boring Twitch channel where we burn incense.
We need to make it a YouTube video. Just you and me just staring at a stick of incense as it very slowly burns down with a stopwatch in our hand. Then we stop it and we'll be like, 10 minutes, 42 seconds. Thank you. And then turn off the video.
I'm down, actually.
I would do it. We'll make it a Patreon exclusive. You want the best Patreon video in the world? Well, we have it.
Watch us stare at incense.
It's very
therapeutic.
Yeah. You'll smell the incense after a while just watching the video. So this dragon thing, they think that the dude in trouble is in Ghost City, which is just a great name for the place.
And Jinwoo wants to give him a job, but if he's really close with the Crimson Rain Salt Flower, it might put him in a tricky position. This might not be a good job,
because that dude is super popular in Ghost City.
He's also super strong. A
bridge between the human and ghost realm, the most prosperous place for ghosts to gather for buying, selling, and trading, amongst other things. It's really a den of inquiry. It's the floating world of old feudal Japan. So, yeah, he's like, I've sent some other people to investigate, but you're my guy. If you're not all about that Red Emperor dude, because
you shouldn't trust him or Yiming. Is this where? So part of the team that Jinwoo gives him is Lang Shuangshu, who is the emperor of this area.
Yeah.
And Lord Windmaster. And he tells him that Ghost City is run by Hao Shang. And
can you work with this guy I'm sending you in with? Mm-hmm. He's like, don't worry, I have no problem with that at all. Which I don't think he does. I think he'll work with anybody.
Yeah.
It's whether they'll work with him.
Also true.
Yeah.
Xie Lian doesn't... He's not petty like that. Like, no. He's not... So what?
Well, it's one of his heavenly virtues. Like, well, later on he'll mention all the things like not imbibing alcohol and not being promiscuous. And one of the things he talks about is like not holding grudges and not
being
fighting.
Hateful.
Yeah. So yeah, he literally can't. It's against his representation.
So we continue on, and we have a pretty picture. This is the new Shanli Palace, which is exactly the same as the one that stood when he ascended. I wrote down, it's kind of a dick move to give someone a palace that looks exactly like the one they lost over 800 years ago. An empty palace to remind you of the fact that you don't have, like, it's kind of a dick move, Jinwoo.
And he's like, let's not enter. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit out on the stoop.
He doesn't want to go in, which is fair. I feel like that's
probably not great memories in there.
No. The Heavenly Emperor warned him to be careful of Songlong and his saber, but I just feel like Songlong wouldn't hurt me. Facts, my man. Run with that intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So
he opens up his scroll about the 100 heavenly officials and starts reading about who he's going to be partnering up with.
And then here comes my baby. I love him so much.
This is your baby too?
Yes, they're all my babies.
Hard to keep track. A lot of babies. You got a lot of babies.
With some notable exceptions. I don't hate Pei Ming, but he's definitely more of a background character.
Mm-hmm.
Hao Shang is top baby. Hao Shang is
top baby.
He's top tier, top baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second favorite character is probably the Windmaster.
Mm.
Xiang Li's not bad, or Xie Lian's not bad, but I don't like him until his world falls apart. I read the first couple of books and I was like, he's a little preachy. Why is he such a doormat? That gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. But then everything falls apart for him and I'm like, oh, I love him now.
We had to make him preachy so we could tear him apart later.
Well, not even that, but like, he's like this now because he did bad shit.
Yeah.
So like it gets there, but it is just, it's beautiful. By the time that happens, I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah. And I didn't dislike his character. It's just he wasn't my favorite.
This was super. Okay, so this whole scene was super weird to me.
Okay.
Because we meet the Windmaster, who effortlessly flows between male and female representation,
mm-hmm.
and a fellow god is completely flabbergasted by this. And I'm like, okay, gods are all about changing forms. So, like, how is this as surprising? It surprised me at how surprising it was.
So Xie Xingxuang is one of the only gods who actively chooses a female form because they have more power in their female form.
Yeah, well, more power in a specific way. What was it that they said?
Well, so that's actually, they're talking about yin energy later. But right here, yeah, Lord Windmaster changes. I wanted to make a point that
I shift to a woman because I'm pretty.
Yes, and I actually wrote down here, I approve of Xie Shuang's powers use here. As long as she's pretty, the gender is irrelevant. Whether she's pretty as a boy or pretty as a girl, she doesn't care. But in the book, and I don't know if it's established here, and there's a lot of stuff that I just kind of gloss over because I've already read the material.
Right.
But in the book, it's established that the Lord Watermaster, who is Shu Wudu, who is Xie Shuang's brother, is the Watermaster, and Xie Shuang is the Windmaster. A lot of the depictions of Xie Shuang in the mortal realm are female. And so a lot of the prayers and stuff that Xie Shuang answers are for that form.
Okay.
And so that form has more power.
It seems like it would be very wise to have both forms so you can cater to both sexes.
There's also
get more prayers, ergo get more power.
Well, there's also a lot of sexism. Although Xie Lian doesn't mind dressing up like he did for the bride case,
mm-hmm.
he never wants to actually take on a female form.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I thought it was just because he was worried about getting seen by his lovey-dove.
There's some of that too.
Yeah,
there's some of that too.
Oh, if I get seen while I've got breastises by my love interest, he may not like me. Oh no.
Yeah. there is some of that too, but there is also, they're martial gods.
Yeah.
Even Xie Lian is a martial god.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sexism kind of baked into, like, the way...
Martial military man kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too.
But yeah, the Windmaster says, women have stronger yin presences, so it'll be easier to discreetly move within Ghost City.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the female has stronger yin magic as the male has stronger yang magic. And I guess yin magic is good for more subtle stuff.
Well, yin magic is just sort of the darker side, like the yin-yang symbol.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's easier to move in
sense.
Ghost City with more yin presence.
Any woman with magic is a witch. That all checks out.
Yeah. Again, the sexism inherent in this philosophy is not there.
Yeah.
But it is also because Xie Lian has more power.
Gotcha.
As a female.
Gotcha.
But I just really adore Xie Lian and Xie Lian's friendship. There's just the bestest buddies by the end of this.
Yeah.
So they decide to go. They're basically walking through the forest to get to the part where they can sort of blend in with some ghosts and walk into Ghost City.
Yeah.
And while they're talking, Xie Lian's talking about how it must have been kind of awkward for the Windmaster to report Pei Su since Pei Ming and his brother are friends and all this stuff. And Xie Lian's like, I hate Pei Ming.
Yeah.
Fuck Pei Ming.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a problem.
No, he does not feel bad for it. And he's like, but if Pei Ming wanted to make the Grand Tutor Ban Yu take the fall for the crimes committed and keep little Pei Su safe, I could not let him succeed. Whether a person, a god, or a ghost, one must take responsibility for their own actions. Is bullying a little girl something to be proud of? And this is why Xie Lian and Xie Lian become friends. They have very good, very complementary moral compasses.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's cute, and I love it.
It's very cute.
So they find a group of girls
who are actually traveling into Ghost City. They're ghosts. And they're traveling to Ghost City to get facelifts, to get makeup done. Because I guess when you're ghostly, your faces start to rot if you don't keep them made up.
And so Xie Lian turns back into a girl here. And he's blushing, and she is trying to talk Xie Lian into transforming into a girl too.
Yeah,
and
he's not down with that.
No, he does that, like you said. He has this picture of himself seeing Shang with big boobs. It is so cute. And he's like, can't do that. He turns red. It is...
Which is funny, because if you recall, last episode, it was probably 62 or 61, when they were laying together, there was this whole conversation about revealing your true form. I would like you in whatever form you took. Da-da-da-da-da. And apparently... that might have just been pillow talk and not a true belief. Because
I think it's just that Xie Lian doesn't want to seem weak to Hao Shang.
Well,
he doesn't want to embarrass himself.
Xie Lian is not willing to take this particular form, and it's because he is worried about what the Red Demon Lord will think. Like, that's his. At least, seemingly, that's his reason for not doing it. And it seems to go counterintuitive to what they were talking about last time they were together. To me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh. But yeah, they hang. They're walking with these ghost ladies, and the ghost ladies are like, "Man, you two are really able to keep your faces from rotting. Yeah, you gals look
Where
great.
Did you go?
Yeah, you gal and guy.
Y'all look pretty.
Y'all look pretty." And they kind of like just push back this. It's like, we muddled through somehow. Yeah, we got into the city. That doesn't matter.
And so, yes, we make it to Ghost City, and it is beautiful. And like you were talking, it's very festive.
It's festive. It's red and black.
Mm-hmm.
We have the red lanterns, which are in Asian culture are dictate like a pleasure district, a red light district, where gambling and prostitution, all the fun stuff a city can give you is
all the best
all the best things. Yeah. But yeah, predominantly red and black. Like I kind of got like vibes from, if any of you watch Stranger Things, it kind of felt like the Upside Down if they had better decorators. That's the vibe I got from it. And the people are all different types. There's like little short monsters riding squirrels, and there's like two-headed fire breathers and pig butchers. It's just any type of fantastical creature you can imagine.
There's a bowl of soup that's eyeballs.
With eyeballs, like you do.
Eyeball soup.
Like
nutritious.
You do, like you do at Halloween parties where they're actually grapes. And but yeah, it looks like everybody's having a good time. Mm-hmm. And you've got these beautiful like goldfish in the sky, and there's a really good just shot of all the going ons. And man,
the pig butchers people. So you've got
like you do.
You got a giant. It might actually be a squirrel. Is that a squirrel? Anyways, he's cutting up people.
Wait, that's doing the butchering?
Yeah,
it's a pig because they have a conversation with Lan Chan, the girl that hits on that boy here.
Xie Lian runs into a lady of the night right after losing Xie Xuan.
Yeah, and she straight up yells at that. She calls him a pig, and then the pig butcher gets offended, and then she calls the pig butcher a pig. Where technically he's probably a warthog, but
maybe that's what it is.
None of that really works out.
No, so this part is he bumps into Lan Xing, and she's like, "Hey, you want to come sleep with me? I'll even pay you," even though I guess she normally gets paid. She pulls down her top, and he's like, "Yeah, I have a problem where I can't get erect." And when I read it in the book, I laughed for like 15 minutes.
It's kind of cuter than that, because at first everyone is yelling at her. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, he doesn't want you because you're old and you're ugly and you're gross. So this erection play is kind of to help her save face.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
It is a kindness to her.
It is.
Which, of course, she does not appreciate at all and yells at him some more. Like, why'd you waste my damn time?
It's literally, sorry, lady, it's not you, it's me. Like, that is...
and by the way, it goes over as well as that line always goes over. She yells at him, calls him a pig.
Gets into a fight with the pig.
Which gives him the chance to escape out.
Yeah.
And as he does, he overhears about the gambling hall. He's like, ooh, that sounds like a fun place.
Yep.
Which,
so
I can smell trouble a mile away. Smells like trouble. Let's go over there.
Yeah. The signs say money over life, gains over shame.
Yeah. And gamble in big letters right in the front.
Yep. And ha 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 ha.
Yeah. And this tower, this gambling hall,
Gambler's Den,
looks very similar to the Emperor's Palace. Again, this is like a very mirror image of where we were when we were in the Heaven's Palace just a few issues back.
Xie Lian almost walks by, and then he turns himself around and goes in anyways. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if Xie Lian were honest with us, he has just been looking for Hao Shang since he got here. The moment he stepped into the city, he had one mission outside of what Jinwoo wanted.
I think the only thing that was keeping him out of here was not like propriety. It was that he didn't have any damn money. He was like, are you going to throw me out because I don't have any cash? And she's like, no one here bets cash.
No.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Yeah.
You don't have to have money. You've got like body parts and a lifespan. You can work with any of that.
There's so much.
You've got lots of stuff to offer.
And boy, you want to talk about a dude in love. All he sees is a brush of a hand through a silk curtain and a voice, and he immediately knows who's on the other side of that curtain.
And he's found him.
Yeah, he's running the damn show.
Yep.
And we meet like a real shitheel. There's a guy on the floor doing some gambling. I assume a straight up human, not a ghost.
These are humans.
A human that has wandered into the ghost world.
He didn't wander in. He came in on purpose.
Well, I say wandered in, but came in to increase his fucking stock portfolio. He's trying to make his business grow, and he's trying to offer his hands for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no. And he's like, well, last guy was able to offer his legs. It's like, yeah, he had better legs. He was a thief. He ran a lot. Like,
yeah. He needed those legs.
He needed those legs. They had a lot of
valuable.
value to him. Right. And your hands, like, you. Basically, it's like you're a CEO of a company. You don't need your hands because you don't do any work. So you're going to have to give me something else.
The ghosts are on to you. Yeah. They know you don't do shit.
Yeah. Not to throw some leftism in here, but yeah. So he has to give him something else.
So he bets 10 years of his daughter's life.
Man's a genius. He's like, I know something that has a ton of value.
Look, this
daughter I haven't ruined yet.
This motherfucker. This part in the novel pisses me off because he bets 10 years of his daughter's life.
Yeah.
And Hao Shang lets this bet go through.
Hao Shang, I don't know. Kind of wish he had not.
Hao Shang is not...
He's not a good guy.
No,
he's not.
But he's beautiful and he's perfect and I love him. Anyways, this dude actually manages to win the bet.
Yeah.
And
everyone's like, well, that's great. What a great time to walk away from the table with your winnings. And this dude is like, but wait, there's more.
I want all of my rivals in the same field to die a sudden death.
I will say something that makes no sense to me in this gambling hall. He won. Which in theory means he still has those 10 years of his daughter's life.
Mm-hmm.
So when he later bets 20, it's the 10 that he already had plus 10 more. This I understand. Later when we get to this meat bun that gets bet, I am a bit confused. But I guess we'll get there. But
this asshole bets his kid's life, manages to win, and thinks, nah, I'll go bigger.
Hey, I want to leave her something even better. So I'm going to take 20 years of her life to leave her an even nicer corporation because I am literally... This time he's not betting for even more prosperity.
He's saying, betting kill for other everyone people else. To die.
If I'm the only shipbuilder in town because every other shipbuilder's dead, then think how much money my shipbuilding will make. And this is after they already told him, you're going to get a lot of shipbuilding success. Like, he already got the thing that killing his rivals would get him. But greed knows no bounds for some folks, including this guy.
Well, and here's the thing.
Which you kind of know, because he already bet 10 years of his daughter's life. You already know this dude's greedy as fuck.
So this request is... So, yeah, the lady points out that this is more difficult than the last request. 10 years of your daughter's life may not be enough. Why not consider betting for something else? And so, like, the ghosts do, in Hao Shang's defense, the ghosts do try to give him an out. They are like, you might want to think about this. This could end badly for your... And he's like, no, I want it. Kill all my rivals.
How about 20? Yeah.
20 years and the fate of her marriage.
Which seems unnecessary. 20 years seems like more than enough for this, but okay. He's like, I'm going to throw something else in just to make it real sweet.
How wicked.
Oh, we should also quickly mention that, I don't know if this is, it's mostly true in the whole place, but especially in this gambling hall, it's kind of like a masquerade ball. All the humans, all the ghosts, all the humanoid-shaped people have masks on of a certain type. And this guy is doing the gambling, has like a horned dragon mask, or minotaur mask, something of that sort, with like sharp fangs. So it's interesting because every time he talks, you get a close-up of his mouth, and then the fangs and the sharp teeth overlaid over it. Mm-hmm. Like his real nature is like trying to peel its way out from his gums.
Yeah. That's a nice shot. That's a good reading. Shot. I like that.
It's a damn good shot. Like my hat's off to our creator here because that was nice.
So, anyways,
we go into issue 72 with him.
Willing to bet his daughter's life and marriage.
Give me more.
So that his rivals can die.
Yeah.
He's not even doing anything for his daughter. It's all for him. He's betting his child's life for his own selfish gain. I hate this man so much.
Yeah.
So Xie Lian's like, okay, I gotta stop this. I can't let this happen.
And I'm sorry, but yeah, fuck yeah, you do have to stop this. This is a travesty.
But
this innocent girl, somebody else
by Xing Shuang.
Yeah, because someone else steps in and stops this.
But she points out that they arranged to meet Quan Shu here, and he's not His Highness Taihua. He's the martial god of the East. It's better for us to team up with him in here. So
shouldn't try and do this solo, or even the two of us. 3 is better than 2, and 2 is certainly better than 1, and I ain't going down there with you. So we should at least have 3.
So,
but not everyone takes that advice.
Nope. And
let me just say, this could not have happened to a nicer guy.
I do not feel any pity for this motherfucker.
No. This is honestly like I was
the nicest thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah, he gets a knife through his hand before he can. So you're rolling the dice inside.
It's not a knife. He just punches him. He breaks his hand with his hand. Like he just.
Oh, I thought he was holding something in his fist.
No, it's just his fist.
Okay, there's a weird.
Our third
thing in the center of it. I thought it was a spike or something, but yeah, it might just be the curl of a thumb.
We're
looking at this on phones, folks. So occasionally,
I think it's just the other dude's hand.
Okay.
Our third party guest has arrived.
Yeah.
And he makes
with
his
a
arrival,
bang.
Yeah, he makes his arrival very obvious.
I'll immediately say the guy won me over. Like, if you start beating up the guy I hate most in the whole world, I'm gonna be on your side.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. I like him. He's not a bad kid.
No.
He's just young and inexperienced.
Yeah, he's out of his element here, and it's getting ready to bite him in the ass. But I appreciate this. He broke the fuck out of dude's hand before he could gamble his daughter's life away.
That's also true.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and then on top to add injury to insult, literally.
Now you get the lecture.
Now you get a holier-than-thou lecture about how dare you bet on your daughter's life.
There is a reason I didn't break your face. I wanted you to be conscious for this. You're getting ready to get a stern talking to, my friend.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too. We should explain the game real quick. It's kind of like an upside-down bell,
mm-hmm.
and you put 2 red dice in it,
mm-hmm.
and you hold it with your other hand underneath the bell to keep the dice in the bell, and then you shake it and drop it on the table and see what dice come up, right? So before he can do that, his hand is crunched, and yes, we get our third man on the mission.
Ling Xuan Shu makes a good point. Man should not be allowed around children. But
Lord Windmaster, did you not tell him to remain unnoticed? I did. But this is just how he is. I don't know what to do.
Hao Chang knows what to do with him, though.
Yeah.
Making a ruckus in my territory. You're pretty bold.
Yeah.
And poor Ling Xuan Shu thinks he's gonna lecture Hao Shang, which is not a thing that's going to end well. So it turns into this little tiny fight, and he throws the table at Hao Shang, and Hao Shang...
Yeah.
Look.
I will say this. The fights in this, I sometimes have trouble following, because they have, like, whoosh sounds and air, but I can never tell, like, what's moving where until, like, a couple more scenes down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is just, like, the fact that it's on a phone or it's a vertical comic. I'm not quite sure, but as I'm reading it, I'm often bedeviled by the fights, and it takes me sometimes 3 or 4 panels to be like, oh, so that's what he did. Okay, I get it now.
Well, I'm spoiled also because I have read the book, so I kind of had an idea.
And watched the anime.
And watched the
you're as informed as one can be on this.
So
the fight goes through issue 72 and into 73.
Before you go on, we are stopping so that I can admire Hao Shang's face right here. Right when he... 2 things. 1, they give this perfect little cutout panel of Hao Shang where you just see like half of his face, and he's got a really pretty eye, and you can see where the eye patch goes over, which is fucking gorgeous.
He's patched up.
He's so pretty. And then they also have a panel with just his hand, and they got his fingernails painted black, which is just a note that I enjoy. My little goth boy with his black fingers. Anyways, now we can continue on. So yeah, the fight keeps going. Our poor boy here thought it was going to be an easy fight, but Hao Chang is nothing if not overpowered.
Yeah.
So it does continue on.
He basically gets tied up and like sent to the ceiling.
Yep. And
they start figuring like, oh, why don't we all gamble and winner gets to like do whatever they want with this guy. You want to eat him?
Now
you
he's
want a sex slave? Whatever you want, he's yours.
Now he's caught. Ticks, 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 little prince.
Yeah. And of course, our other two heroes have to reveal themselves now to save his ass.
Xie Lian's like, hey, how's your luck?
It's like, I can always roll the lowest. Does that help at all?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, actually, it will help because we'll just say, hey, let's see who can roll the lowest.
Yep. Xi Huang's like, yeah, we can use that to our advantage.
Right.
So he tries to use that to his advantage. Maybe if you hadn't told Xie Lian that those were the rules going in, it would have worked out. But because his luck is bad, the moment that the rules change, suddenly he's rolling sixes, and that's all he can get now.
He's rolling double sixes.
Yeah. So, he makes the bet. They make the bet, and
he loses.
He loses, of course. And
he gets to go behind the curtain. He gets to meet Oz himself.
He gets interrupted because instead of anyone else going, the lady who is guarding the curtain, it says that Hao Sheng wants to teach this newcomer how to roll the dice.
Hao Sheng wants you to come behind the curtain and learn the special dice method.
And Hao Sheng is canonically a terrible liar. He noticed Xie Lian, and any excuse is a good excuse to hold his hand. Mm-hmm. So this is an unnecessarily long dice teaching thing.
Yep.
But in
Cecilia, you just tell me how much time you want to spend on this, because for me, I can sum it up in one sentence. So
okay, go ahead and sum it up.
Yeah, he teaches him how to do dice, and also that luck can be transferred the same way God powers can. They take a long time to say that because there's lots of romantic hand holding and eyes close to each other and blushing.
I wrote down, they're so cute. This is an unnecessarily long scene plot-wise, but the sexual tension is so good. Because all this does...
Wait, sexual tension? Do these two like each other? I did not get that from this. Interesting. We'll read on and see who's right. Maybe. I mean, I guess possible.
Hao Sheng says that anybody can come make a bet, and the winner can take the thing above away and dispose of him however they want. But with betting with the Lord, all hopes are dashed. So basically, Hao Sheng is saying if you beat him...
You're betting the house. And the house always wins, is what they're saying. Yeah.
Ling Guangshu is very upset that he is a thing in this.
As you would be,
yeah. But Xie Lian's trying to get him to hold his tongue, and
I will say it's kind of funny because in the first couple of days, like the first time he rolls like a 2, and then he's like, "Oh, let me show you the method," and then he rolls like a 4. He's like, "Oh my god, I rolled better." I was like, "Well, you couldn't have rolled worse." I'm not sure there's magic here as much as the law of averages. Like you could not have. The worst you could have done is tied it.
Would you like to bet high or low? Yeah. And there's this pretty panel of them holding hands, and I am gonna talk about this a little bit more because I do like it.
This is like I say, run wild, run free. Say as much as you want, Cecilia. This is your chapter.
It really is.
It really is.
I like the curtain. I enjoy the work that they put in to kind of because Xie Lian is focusing on the dice and what he's learning, he's missing the way that Hao Sheng is just staring at him and the way that he's being so kind and holding him so gently, and I love it so much. And he teaches Xie Lian how to shake, and they do get better, and they keep getting better. And there's this really cute panel of Xie Lian with his little tongue stuck out, and it's adorable.
Trying to do the method.
He's trying.
He's trying to do the method he learned.
He's trying so hard, and he's blushing, and it's just so fucking cute. They're so cute. And he keeps getting better and better and better. And he's like, Xie Lian makes the point that he's lost, and Hao Sheng's like, no worries, doesn't count. And because he's Hao Sheng and this is his gambling den, he can basically do whatever the fuck he wants, and that is just what he does. Yeah. And all of the people,
make sure he loses.
Well, all of the people are like, can he do this? The whole group of ghosts is just taken back by Hao Sheng being so willing to lose.
Yeah.
And
an unfinished bun is what we end up putting on the line for this Which is another thing that you find offensive if your body is put on the line and the thing on the other side of the scale is a half-eaten meat bun. Like,
here's the thing. So the people in Xie Lian's market really like and respect him, and he keeps calling Xie Lian Gege. And I know Gege is supposed to be a term of respect, but for the life of me, between the book and the BLHQ podcast, which did a Heaven Official's Blessing one, I can't help but read it in a sexy little voice in my head that's like, Gege, Gege. Like, I read it and that's what I hear. I don't hear a term of respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lang Shuangshu gets all upset that he's not worth more than a meat bun.
Again, fair.
But he's worth less than that to Hao Shang.
Yeah.
Like, the half-eaten meat bun is more than Hao Shang would give for him.
Well, it's had somebody's lips on it. It's
yeah,
not
Hao
just
Shang wants that
half-eaten meat
indirect
bun.
kiss.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we get 2 6s, straight 12, high roller, wins the day. And someone says, he won because the Lord taught him well. I'm like, no, he literally rigged the dice. There is no special dice shuffling method. Dude infused him with a little bit of that old evil demon lord luck. And yes, of course, he got double 12s and won.
And yeah, Shuangshu ends up on the ground.
Well, of course, you can't have a dude floating in the sky and yell, hey, let me down, and it end any other way than him suddenly dropping to the ground. Like, that is Looney Tunes 101. Like,
True.
that is what happens when you're floating
True.
in the sky and you go, let me down from here. You get a finger snap and a drop every time.
You're going to end on your ass.
It is predictable as the sunrise and the sunset.
And Hao Shang comes out from behind the curtain, all pretty.
You won against
Gege.
me. Yeah.
Gege.
Stop teasing me. And he goes, I'm not. How could I? And be like, well, you could imply that he won. That's one way.
Here's the thing. He was going to win. Hao Shang was going to give him whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
He didn't actually have to win. He didn't have to play at all.
Yep.
Hao Shang probably would have given him what he wanted.
Yeah. And they realize this is a big moment because, like, now they are both in their quote-unquote true forms. Mm-hmm. As was promised in their platonic layabout from our last covering of Heavens.
Xie Lian thanks him for his time, is getting ready to leave, and Hao Shang's like, you did lose once, though, and you need to complete your wager.
Yeah. You need to give me the bun.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm confused. If he'd already lost the bun, he couldn't use the bun as collateral in the second one. It would have had to be a second thing. If he'd already lost the bun, then when they were gambling for the bun, they couldn't have, because both of the things were already the other guys. Like, you can't do that. That's not how gambling works. And now this is going to sound fucking crazy, but I think this whole fucking thing was rigged from start to finish.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that out there. I think Ghost City might be a little corrupt. You heard it here first, folks.
Corrupt how?
Corrupt.
Hao Shang's will is the thing that runs Ghost City.
The house always wins.
So
even when the house loses, the house always wins.
Here's the thing. If Hao Shang's will is the thing that runs Ghost City, then whatever Hao Shang wants is the thing that will happen.
Yes.
So it's
Which
not
means
corrupt.
If you want anything except the same thing that he wants, then it's going to be rigged against you. But hey, he gets his meat bun. His half of meat bun.
Maybe you should just get with the program and want the things that Hao Shang wants.
I get with the program, and I do not go to Ghost City. That is not my neighborhood.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah.
I would go to Ghost City though.
I know you would.
I would end up dead or something.
So we get our meat bun, which is great.
It's so cute. He wants that indirect kiss. The fact that Hao Shang takes a bite. And Xie Lian watches
while making eye contact.
And then blushes and runs away. And it is so funny and awkward. And so I know you won't get this joke yet. But eventually we are going to read Mao Dao Zushi for this podcast.
Okay.
And I want you to remember when we get to that point that Xie Lian is gay panic. Mm. And how Wei Wuxian is bisexual disaster. And those things, those energies, those are the energies. All Xie Lian does is gay panic whenever Hao Shang is around and being remotely sexy. And that is what happened here.
Yeah. Noted. I will try and remember. If not, you will be here to remind me. Our three intrepid adventurers walk out and talk about how they were sure they'd be found out eventually, but not quite as quickly as it happened.
Yeah, Xie Shuang mentions that they're in Ghost City. They're in Hao Shang's territory.
Yeah.
If word got out that heavenly officials come to Ghost City, that fucks everything up for everybody. You can't be giving away secrets like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't act so recklessly.
You get an apology, but, like, I fucking had to. You saw the shit that was going on there. Like, I didn't feel like I had a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go into episode 77, I find him hard to argue with. Like, but somebody's getting beat up before they can have more conversation here about, like, the right and wrong of interrupting someone gambling away their daughter's life. 5, I assume ghosts or demons or just bad dudes are beating up on a
bandaged boy.
A bandaged homeless ruffian who we recognize.
Yep.
That's the boy from Yujin Mountain.
It sure is.
And man, I didn't think that dude was going to show up again here. Like,
the funniest part for me is that he's basically like, y'all fight, I'm gonna chase after the boy, peace out, bye. And Xie Lian leaves Xie Shuang and Long Shushi.
Well, it's also funny because they literally just got done being like, look, we can't just interrupt every time someone's in trouble. We got to keep a low profile. Like, that was the sentence that was uttered before this happened. It's like, you are making someone apologize for doing this thing
that you're getting ready to do.
That you just did, yeah. And you're right, runs off and leaves his other two to deal with the consequences, which is like 6 angry dudes who just lost their beat-up toy.
Yeah. So, the boy with the human face's disease is back. Xie Lian leaves him to fight, and then promptly loses the boy and ends up at Hao Shang's house. I wrote, his luck ain't all bad.
Yeah, you'll find what you're looking for.
And boy, is it looking good, because the panel that he goes into Hao Shang's manor, and there's a very pretty picture of Hao Shang sitting back in a very gay-coded pose where he's got like a spread going on. There's a joke that people who aren't straight can't sit in a seat right. It's all over the internet. I don't know.
Just for the record, I also can't sit in a seat right. Don't know what that says about me, but it is a fact.
Hao Shang is building a gold foil palace, and
yes. Oh, real quick before we get there, there's 3 or 4 shots of the pursuit through the city, and this is when you get your best shots of like some of the residents of the city. There's a little dude riding a rooster. There's a geisha with 2 faces and no eyes. Like, I just want to quickly mention there's a lot of really cool
you're right,
like populist pictures of the people, and that came the closest to being like, ooh, maybe I should take a camera shot of that, because that scene of just like those little weirdos running around town. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're getting something out of this.
Oh man, like the art is amazing, and the story's fine when it's not, like 6 panels of dudes taking turns blushing. Like, once we get past all that, there's a lot of good stuff here.
I'm here for the dudes taking turns blushing and making lingering eye contact.
I will also say this: as we move into 78, you were talking about this very nice palace. The first thing I wrote was, this palace, the prankster would love this place because there are just women dancing everywhere.
I just kind of scrolled past that.
Very similar vibes now. Well, I did think it was funny that you called it out when the prankster did it, but now when this fella does it, for some reason, it's all quiet on the Western Front.
You should call out my hypocrisy. There is plenty of it, but I also I know that
guys in green suits should be allowed the same liberties that you give.
I know Hao Shang is an 800-year-old virgin. I don't judge him for this. Like, it is different when I know that, like, he's never touched anybody.
I would put down even money the prankster might be in that same boat. I don't know this, but I would be willing to put down money.
I know this.
It's fair.
It's canonical that like Hao Sheng has never had relations with anyone. So,
but he sure loves a belly dancing party because he has got a army of dancers.
He does, and the dancer is very gorgeous. To put
dancers, there's like 20 of them.
It does hyper focus on this one.
Yeah,
and she's got
on her. Yeah.
piercings. She's really pretty. I'm here for it.
And she's got elf ears, which I'm always a fan of. More
but yeah,
ears,
I don't.
Please.
You are right. I am being a hypocrite, but I also know that Hao Sheng.
If I didn't give you shit, Cecilia, you'd think I'd been body snatched. So.
This is true.
Yeah.
You should give me shit. But Hao Sheng points out that. So Hao Sheng makes a comment that like, since you're already here, why don't you come inside? Because he knows that Xie Lian is on the other side of this pretty archway door. Because the architecture is nothing if not fabulous.
Oh yeah, on
this palace.
And once again, red lanterns everywhere.
Yep.
Like this dude's got a red gimmick. Big fan.
He's got a color scheme.
He's got a color scheme, which I greatly appreciate. I love a villain with a color scheme.
I bet you do.
Get your colors right.
There is something about Mao Zedong-Zhongshu's work. All of her demon boys. So you get 3. You've got Lao Bingyi, Wei Wuxian, and Hao Sheng. Those are the demons.
Yeah.
They all do some variation of red and black, and I have never been in love with someone who follows a color scheme quite so much as Mao Zedong-Zhongshu's work. She makes me fall in love with long-haired demon boys with a specific type of color scheme.
She does this thing. She's doing a thing.
So Hao Sheng knocks over his gold foil palace and comes to the door and tells Gege to come in and have a seat.
Come on, Gege. and our little Gege is like, hey, might be overstepped my bounds, but man, this gambling house thing you got is a little dangerous. It's a little unseemly and such.
First, they established that they both had to pretend not to know each other for the other people around them. Right. And then Xie Lian's asking for a favor of the bandaged boy, which Hao Sheng is already working on.
Somehow. Look. Man, nothing happens in this city without our boy knowing.
Hao Sheng, though, is just like, leave your problems here. I got you. I'll take care of this for you.
Hao Sheng, yeah. Again, though, because I am paranoid, I would super be creeped out by that. It'd be like, wait, how did you know? And how did you know? And how did you know? You know what? Privacy is important to me. You can just stop. Like, let me ask for you.
You know what? Hao Sheng might also be a voyeur.
Oh, I'd be willing to bet.
And maybe I identify real hard for a reason.
There are signs that point in this
direction. Xie Lian is rightfully worried about the gambler's den, as you were pointing out. Yeah. And Hao Sheng points out that the thing is, the gambler's den is always going to exist.
Yeah, he's kind of doing the power abhors a vacuum thing, and better me at the top than somebody else.
And he doesn't hold it against Lang Xuanshu that he stepped in. He's young. And the thing
which
is...
I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hao Sheng isn't completely irredeemable. He does think that it's better that the gambler den be in his hands than someone else's. Yeah. And he does. He also points out that the heavenly officials come down here all the time. For heaven to be so judgmental, those motherfuckers are the same ones coming down here, making bets, doing shit with people.
Yeah, and it's the priest on Sunday who's bitching against the local brothel, but he's their best customer on Monday. Yeah, of course.
Instead of letting just anyone have control of this place, I've taken responsibility. And to a certain extent, because Hao Sheng can kind of affect luck, I wonder how many bets he allows to go through that would actually harm people. Yeah. Because, like, the dude losing his legs, you don't know what he was betting on.
Well, and you did know he was a thief. Like, he was betting, like, I need to be able to run faster after I kill a family so I can get away from the law. And it's like, it's kind of good he lost his legs. Yeah. He was not using them for good stuff.
I also think it's really important. So on Twitter, I'm on a lot of like have an official blessing Twitter and Tumblr and stuff.
I would be surprised.
Oh yeah, totally not at all a thing that is a part of my personality at this point. Anyways, a lot of people point out that Hao Shang is not just like, he's not just morally gray. He has very strong convictions, but those convictions are much more of a like the pig who kills people. Mm-hmm. That pig is a butcher and was probably butchered. So now that pig gets his vengeance by being able... And, like, Hao Shang is... I'm not going to say easily swayed, but he almost always is willing to go for the underdog. And his convictions are very... Like, they're very sound to him.
Yeah.
Whether or not you would agree with what choices he makes...
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing for himself.
Yeah. He has convictions. Like, I think you can be a bad guy and have convictions. I think you can be a good guy and have wrong convictions. I mean, if nothing else, I think this podcast is a very clear example of the fact that there are so many fucking, I would say even more than 50 shades of gray out there that like, there's just it's a tapestry. And I'm not here to judge. I'm here to say, I will say this though, as we head into episode 79, they changed the cover art and I like it.
I took a screenshot of this because it changes to kind of like a cat boy, wolf boy, Hao Shang, and a little...
Hao Shang's got, he's got wolf ears now.
The art's really good, man.
I can't say enough good things about the art. Like, if the entire... After 85, which as far as I've read, if we go into episode 86, and from 86 to the end of this thing, it's just two dudes blushing at each other, I would still recommend the series, because it's worth it just to look at the art.
It is very well done. So, as we go into
our
this
bandage boy got found.
By the waning moon officer, Yin Yu.
Who I love the look of, and I hope we get to spend more time with, I'm going to say her, but not sure yet.
We see a cursed, or Xie Lian, who pays very good attention to detail. I want to note that Xie Lian is almost kind of detective-like throughout the whole series, where he notices all these little things. Yeah. And he notices that Yin Yu has a cursed shackle, which is a thing that you get from heaven.
Yeah.
From Jinwu, to be exact.
So what's up with that shit?
But he doesn't really get to ask too many questions, because he's trying to...
Well, the kid's very... he doesn't talk, and he's very scared and fearful and in pain. And hungry. And basically, we get what appears to be a straight-up adoption here. Basically. Yeah.
So he names him... he asks the boy if he's from Shanli, and the boy says he's Yungin, and Xie Lian cannot stop scaring this kid. He grabs him and is like, "Have you seen the white no-face?"
He gets so excited every time he gets information about old no-face.
And he apologizes, and Hua Shang steps in and says, "Gege, you can get some rest. You can ask questions later."
And he's like, "No, now."
Yeah, I'm fine. And then he basically does. He gives him a name. So his Long Ying is the little boy's name. Yeah. And then
into episode 80.
80 we get Xie Lian offering to teach him cultivation. Yeah. And
like you won't have to steal food anymore. You won't be getting beat up in the streets anymore.
With just a look, Hao Shang gives him a food, like an assortment, a platter. It looks really yummy. It makes me very hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet.
And me either. I'm starving. We should eat after this. I'm definitely going to eat after this. This is the second Spirited Away reference. I feel like that pig butcher gave me big Spirited Away vibes.
Nice.
Because of the parents that eat and turn into pigs. And this, I am also getting... look, when you're in a ghost city, when you're in a demon world, never eat the food.
Just like the Fae, don't give them your name, don't touch their food.
When you're in limbo, not even a pomegranate seed. Don't eat the food if you're not in the prime material plane. You don't know what's going to happen. But this kid has been in this world. He's hundreds of years old. Yeah. He is a ghost himself, so he's probably safe. And the spread looks great.
You get a flashback of another young kid eating like the same kind of way.
Yeah. Just a very quick flashback. And some kid who I don't know. Sort of looks familiar. Might be some demon lord. I don't know. Maybe.
You're giving it away, Reno.
You shouldn't make him look so identifiable. Especially for me. I'm shit at identifying people, but yeah. That's our boy. That's our demon boy.
Xie Lian gets given a drink by someone who looks very familiar.
Yeah.
And covers up the fact that he almost chokes on it, on the fact that he's not allowed to have alcohol. He's not allowed to have sex.
Yeah, he's watching I think he's watching the kid eat, and the glass is handed to him, and he starts to sip it while, like, just kind of, his eyes are just kind of lazing about. And
he's lost in thought.
Yeah, and one of the little waitresses gives him a wink, and he spits his drink out.
Because the waitress is Xie Shuang.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A little undercover wind stuff happening.
And
yes, he does cover for it by mentioning about his cultivation method forbids alcohol.
But Hao Sheng says, but I used to think with cultivation, aren't you just tasting after carefreeness and pleasure? And if you have to give up this and that, isn't it better to not cultivate at all? And there are different paths to cultivation, but the path that Xie Lian follows forbids alcohol and promiscuity. Yeah. He can occasionally have alcohol, but he cannot have sex.
I like that he says, not all paths are like that. Because, yeah, the way to pleasure for everyone's different.
Also, Pei Ming would not be able to be a god and to have cultivated to where he is if he couldn't have sex. Some people do it differently.
That's what I say. Not all paths are like that. Some, like promiscuous or abstinent. Like, if you're getting happiness and meaning from your life, that should be your business. There is no one size fits all for, like, finding meaning in this world. Mm-hmm. And I think that one little quick line is speaking to that, and I like it.
So, what we do now is,
let me just say, this whole occasional alcohol, but promiscuous is strictly forbidden. Mm-hmm. The look. Well, how would you describe the look when that line is delivered? Because I called it the Chick-fil-A on Sunday look, because that seems like now I want him even more. Let me know if I'm reading too much. I'm only getting one eyeball here. The other's got an eye patch, so maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Look, in the book...
But I'm getting the now I want him even more look.
Yeah. So in the book, when this scene happens, I think the text just has 3 ellipses for Hao Sheng's reaction. And even then, I got the reaction of, oh, he gonna break that boy.
It is very much a challenge accepted. Yeah. It's a Barney challenge. Yeah. But this is also where he says he has this other rule, which is forbidden hatred.
Yep.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about holding grudges and being violent towards people and stuff. And it kind of explains a lot of his behavior up to this point. Mm-hmm. Because if that was expressly stated earlier, I missed it. So a lot of times when he was, like, seemingly going out of his way and bending ass over tea kettle to not hurt people, it makes more sense now. I'm like, oh, that's one of your god tenets. It's okay. Like, no wonder you're not down with that. Like,
here he mentions the gambling den and how maybe he should, if he would normally avoid stuff like that, but if he can stabilize his emotions and stay untouched by wins and losses, then it's not a bad thing to go in.
Right.
He's speaking of which, Song Long, your gambling skill is quite something in comparison. And Hao Sheng's like, it's just good luck. I do have a shortcut, and that is that I can guarantee you victory every time.
Yeah. This is when he talks about I can pass off luck the same way one passes off spirit energy. So if you need some extra luck, here's some. Use it when you need it most.
Mm-hmm. Hao Cheng is a rabbit's foot brought to life. He can make Xie Lian lucky.
Wonderful, yeah.
So,
or long shot of the X-Men for you Marvel fans.
So he rolls some dice and gets 2 6s. And if Gege wants to bet against anyone, come find me. He'll lend him as much luck as he likes.
Yeah. That sounds like a dangerous liaison.
And this is where Xie Lian remembers, oh yeah, I have a job to do while I'm down here.
Yeah. Ironically, when he gets up to do that job, he gets his arm yanked on by the other job he just took on. Again, this guy, too many jobs. Put some jobs back. You've got too many jobs.
Yeah. And he has the little boy get cleaned up, and he follows Hao Sheng into
it's
another
very sweet
part of
that
the
the
manor.
kid grabs him, though. The kid's like, hey, you're one of the few things I recognize in this big, scary world.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's shown to his room in this very nice palace. Again, lovely palace.
He doesn't want to be a problem, but Hao Sheng is more than willing to help him out.
Give me all your problems. I want more problems.
Give me all your problems.
Take
a load off, Gege. I'll take care of it.
Give me your huddled masses. He's the Statue of Liberty over here. Give me your huddled masses. I'll take care of them.
Yeah, if you want anything, don't worry about it. Just let me know. I'll give you anything you can ask for.
Yeah.
Hao Sheng is just here to be a genie, like a wish fulfillment genie. I found you your boy. I fed your boy. I'll clean your boy. You tell me what you need.
Tell me when you need your boy back.
I will give it to you. And here we meet Yiming. I love Yiming.
Yeah, episode 82, we're going into his room where Hemin, which is a sword with a red eyeball,
Yiming is so cute.
says hello, which is not something you'd get from swords too much. And it gives like a sway, like it's waving hello.
I don't know if we'll ever. Because here's the thing, we're not going to stop reading this when it comes out with more. We just might have to find some places. But I don't know if we're ever going to get to it in the comic. But there's a part where Yiming gets made small.
Yeah.
And it's like a little baby Yiming.
Like a little,
and I love little baby
like a little
Yiming.
sewing needle as opposed
so
to
baby.
a sword. Yeah.
But Yiming likes Xie Lian. And Hao Sheng's like, it's rare for Yiming to like anybody.
Hao Sheng's super happy that the two of them are getting along, which is fun in and of itself. It's like, oh man, I hope my boyfriend and my sword don't fight. I hope those two get along.
Xie Lian pets the sword, and the sword gets little hearts. It is so fucking cute, man. I love it so
cute.
much.
My brain hurts. And the Windmaster in her clever disguise.
So I really like this part, and I think it can be skipped over, so I want to draw your attention to after he's petting the sword, and Hao Sheng says, that's enough. Come back when you're done with your work.
Yeah.
And then Hao Sheng has some stuff he's got to go take care of, and he leaves.
Yeah.
So I know that Xie Lian thinks he's being sneaky, but I think Hao Sheng already knew what he was here for.
Well, he told him two things that I think will be important later on. Number one, you've got the run of the place. Go wherever you wish. Mm-hmm. Like, you have my
blessing.
My blessing to go wherever you want to go. So even if he doesn't know, I don't think he's worried. Even if he doesn't know exactly what he's here for, I don't think he's worried about it. Like, I don't think he's... I think the only concern he has is because it's someone he cares about and wants to spend more time. So he
just wants to stay with
your
Xie
concerns
Lian.
Are my concerns.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he doesn't know, I don't think he's concerned. And if he does know, then he's like just giving him all the tools he needs to succeed on these goals.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Because as we go on,
as soon as he leaves, pretty much,
Lord Windmaster
comes
back
in
up
in that lady waitress attire and starts bitching about women's clothes, which. Yeah.
Facts, my man.
I expected any moment for Lord Windmaster to be like, and it doesn't have pockets. But mostly we're complaining about how tight the brassiere is. And
also, they managed to lose Lang Shuangshu again. So that ends well. I actually wrote down that haven't they learned not to leave him alone yet? This boy always causes problems.
They're like, hey, let's go exploring. We don't need the third wheel. Like, you and me, we're pals. Let's go do pal things, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, he's like, so Xie Lian's like, why don't you change back into your cultivation robes? Because Lord Windmaster's complaining about his clothes.
Yeah.
And he's like, am I an idiot? Why would I wear white robes to run around in the middle of the night? I'm just going to be a target.
A big white target, yeah.
And Xie Lian's like, wearing that makes you a different sort of target.
Yeah. Lord Windmaster, despite having taken a woman's form quite a few times, apparently doesn't know all the risks that come from being a woman.
I guess that's what happens.
Especially in the shady part of town, yeah. So we cut to issue 83, and they're both sneaking around outside of town, outside the palace, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and start following. Who was it? Inyu?
Yinyu.
Ninyu?
Yin.
Yinyu. So time for a little stalker mission.
Yep. And so they lose Yinyu with a magical locked key door thingy.
Yeah, there's a statue with a plate.
And Xie Lian puts together that there's a plate and some luck. And so he rolls the dice.
And of course, he's got them lucky rolls.
And the door opens up. And so they go down a long, narrow corridor in the dark.
To a super wall. Like a Super Mario Brothers size wall here.
And Xie Xuan is pointing out that it seems like Crimson Rain Salt Flower is very sincere with Xie Lian.
Yeah. Just a polite way of being like, I see some sparks.
Yeah, if I were you, even if Jinwoo had begged me, I wouldn't have come here. And Xie Lian's like, I hope I get to say I'm sorry. He feels so bad.
Yeah.
And then when they get to the bottom, there is no more road to follow.
It's a 10-foot thick wall between them and the road continuing.
But...
And there's a very funny part where Windmaster's like, I could bust through it. And it's like, well, that'd make too much noise. And it's like, oh, that's good. I actually couldn't bust through it anyway. It's like, well, I'm glad we put that idea on the table and then immediately took it off the table because it will not work.
So Xie Lian notices that there is a plate on the ground that is different than the other plates around it. So
that takes us to 84. Mm-hmm. They're trying to decipher this plate. What does it mean? It looks like a constellation in space.
It does kind of.
Yeah.
So they decide to try rolling the dice again, and Xie Lian asks Xie Xuan to do it because he's worried of using up all of his luck.
They also mentioned that they're not really sure what number they're trying to get.
That's true, too.
They're like, I don't know how to decipher this, so I don't know what number we're going for.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they get a 5. And the constellation type, again, not sure if it's actually a constellation, but the picture changes, so it looks like a big earthworm in the sky. And they're like, well, that sure is a weird... And then the floor drops out from under them.
Yeah, Xie Xuan's like, what do you do exactly that you see a lot of these?
Yeah, it's like, dude, I used to farm and collect trash. Worms are a part of that.
Well, Xie Xuan is a spoiled little rich boy, so I'm not super surprised that he's like, I don't actually know all that much about you. How have you seen so many earthworms?
Is that dirt under your nails? Do you, oh my god, work for a living?
Yeah.
Gross, dirty, gross.
You're a plebe, but I really still like you, so we'll go on with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, they drop down into a tunnel, and their plan is to just walk in the tunnel and see...
I mean, they don't have much choice. As soon as they fall down, the trap door seals behind them.
Yeah,
so they can't go back up the way they came. And this tunnel goes in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
So you follow the tunnel, and it turns out that picture of an earthworm was not just for show.
Nope.
There are giant fucking earthworms down here.
Real gross. My chibi girl would not like this chapter.
I honestly found this very disturbing, and also... as we go into 85, which sadly, our last episode, we go into 85, and I'm like, I tried to think, when have I seen giant earthworms as an enemy? I mean, I remember the movie Tremors, but those weren't really earthworms. And I was like, this is a pretty fresh new idea.
Yeah.
Terrifying earthworm monsters that are just earthworms.
Yeah.
And they take off running, and I don't understand, once again, it looks like one of the worms breaks a wall and lava comes out of it, maybe? Again, sometimes the action shots lose me as far as what's happening. They're eventually surrounded by fire, though.
Watch out for pits. And Xie Lian asks Lord Windmaster for some spiritual power, and they clap hands. Take note of how they transfer spiritual power.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's a high five.
They give high five.
The same way frat boys do. That's how I used to transfer power at spring break, actually. So weird.
And then they see another plate, and so... in the middle,
we gotta roll them bones again.
In the middle of the fire, they roll the dice, and just before they get eaten, they manage to drop out of the sky, and
these worms have like lined mouths of teeth, like again, super creepy. And thankfully, they rolled in bones, and they end up in a much better looking place. Kind of in the middle of a forest, it looks like.
And Xie Lian's like, working with you is so exciting, Your Highness. In a way that's clearly supposed to expel that she's not enjoying this. Well, not having a great time.
He's like, Lord Master Wind, are you okay? It's like, I don't know. I've never fallen like this before.
Xie Lian has. If you remember the very first chapter.
A lot of falling.
He falls a lot.
Yeah.
And then they get chased by barbarians, which is not a word I'm super sure I like.
I don't know. I don't know barbarians' origins, and I don't know. Like,
Xie Lian is very sheltered, though. The very first thing he's like, are they cannibals? Do they eat people? Like, and Xie Lian reminds Xie Lian that they can't hurt the people. Like, they can't fight back.
Yeah.
Because it's heaven's law. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
They just need to keep running and look for a door. And then Xie Lian gets nicked in the cheek.
Yep.
And she turns around because now she's mad. And she's like, not only do you not cower before me, Lord Windmaster, you dare to ruin my appearance. Truly unbelievable. And then blows them away.
Yeah, it ends with a huge tornado that is flipping these wild-looking fellas all over the place. Like, the final shot is just like the center of this tornado. And like, you just see
people flying every which way.
People flailing about in this tornado. I dare say problem solved.
This is true. Xie Lian is vain, but I still love her.
I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, as someone whose favorite Street Fighter character is Vega, I'm here for the vain people. Like, I'm always down for some vagueness.
She's just I love her so much.
One crisis averted, but still looking for who set off that dragon flare. No closer to the end of this mystery. We leave off in 85. So
that's it for now.
So, Cecilia, got any questions for me?
So, I do.
Fair enough.
If you designed a level for this torture pit,
sure.
What would your dice number be, and where would it lead to? You can use D&D dice numbers.
Yeah.
You don't have to stick to a 1 to 6 die.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, 2 1 to 6 dice. My lucky number's always been 7, but 7's also the most common number you can roll on 2 6-sided. So I'm going to go with 4, because it's a little harder to get. And it's my second favorite number.
Aww.
So I'm going to say my number is 4. And let's see. 4, we got our cardinal directions. So you're going to be in a room. There's going to be a north, south, east, and west. 4 doors. And we're going to kind of do a lady and a tiger situation. Except it's a lady and 3 tigers. So one direction is the safe direction to go. And it would be based on... I guess which one of the martial gods you're tightest with. Like, if you're cool with the east god, then you should take the east door, because the other 3 are not going to be good for you. But if you and the north martial god really get along, or the north wind god, like, it has to be the cardinal direction that you, as a godlike figure, are most affiliated with. North, south, east, or west. You pick your direction and you go. And behind it we'll put another little panel where you can roll the dice again and then try and get a better roll than 4.
All right.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have a dice level for your luck-based video game?
Yours was very much better thought out, and I've had time to think of this, and all I could come up with was snake eyes, and a snake pit, because it matched.
Nice, yeah.
And I
you end up as Chuckles in the Cobra organization. You're a dick and you're a spy. It's the worst. Snake eyes is the worst thing you can roll, because you end up infiltrating Cobra and being a total asshole about it.
Well, here's the thing. I like snakes, so
Yeah.
the snake pit probably wouldn't be filled with like maybe 1 or 2 poisonous snakes, and mostly they'd be friendly. And I like snakes.
Honestly, for a lot of people, friendly snakes would be the scariest scenario.
This
like
is
snakes
fair.
that want to crawl on me. Oh, great!
They're cute.
Give me the dice. Gotta keep rolling.
I guess maybe the little plate would be under one or 2 poisonous snakes.
Right,
You'd
there's
have to
only
find-
2 poisonous ones, but they're on the plate.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
guarding the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Because why not?
You could maybe befriend the black snake and send it over to take care of the problem for
Fight
you.
the copperheads for me.
Please? That's the only, like, I was thinking, like, my favorite number is 9, but
9.
I can't think of any.
You go to Nazi Germany. It's horrible.
Oh, God.
9!
You got to kill Hitler to get out. That's it?
Actually, that's a dream. I want to roll 9 now.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Cecilia. These dice rolls are supposed... Well, one of them can't be bad. Like, there's got to be a good roll.
Mm-hmm.
9's the good one. You get to go kill Hitler. Yeah! Worth it.
Hey.
Nice. Yeah, well, those would be fine levels. You can fight you'll have the snake boss. And, yeah, mine will be the puzzle section.
You got to have a variety of everything. If the
You gotta have a
end
boss
of the
fight.
first Harry Potter book taught me anything, it's that you should have different doors you've got to go through.
Yeah, gotta have different doors
Yeah.
with different challenges. Yeah, it's just how it's done.
I like it.
In the world of magic and fae, it's just how it's done. Yeah. All right, so 2 weeks from now, we're going to be reading Volume 1 of Fables, Legends in Exile. Now, I've picked Fables because it's actually, I say been in the news lately, but not that lately, and even more lately by the time the episode comes out. But recently, because I believe it's Bill Willingham, but one of the creators of Fables had a big fight with Vertigo Comics, and ended up making all of his stuff like public domain and like free to all, which is exciting. But he also has some bad takes on things. So he is a conflicted character at best. So we're going to read Fables.
This is not the podcast Cool People Who Did Cool Stuff.
No, this is the podcast Bad People that somehow still did cool stuff. So yes, we're going to read Volume 1 of Fables because it will give us a greater... I want to do a little bit of extra talking about copywriting and what that means and this whole conflict
This
that
is the
he
thing
had.
I have opinions on.
Yeah, that he had with Vertigo Comics and how you can have the right take and still be a bad guy. So, yeah, all of that coming up in 2 weeks. So, Fables, Volume 1, Legends in Exile. I will go ahead and tell you that, as I often do, Ollie's really should pay me. I got Volume 1 from Ollie's for $3.
Unofficially sponsored.
Yeah, I got Volume 1 from Ollie's.
Ollie's and
$3.
Piracy, unofficially the sponsor
those are our
of Comic
sponsors.
Dissection.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Fables is about what if all the characters from Fables, Little Red Riding Hood, Little Boy Blue, all
So
of those
basically,
characters
Once Upon a Time.
went to the real world. Yeah, Once Upon a Time is a blatant ripoff of Fables. Yeah. So, in 2 weeks, read Fables, and we'll see you back here. Till then, something about allies in your own or something. I don't know. Cecilia.
Gege says be your own ally.
Gege says be your own ally. And if you like what you hear and want to help us do it, we got a bazillion Patreon levels. It's all in the show notes. If you can't give money, we love you anyway. Feel free to share episodes, tell your friends who like comics, all the things that help podcasts grow and thrive, 5-star reviews, etc., etc. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.